Oh, g'day champions. I've got a Bogner Uberschall here and I'm just tracking down why the clean-ish channel is way low level. So I don't know what it is with these guys and, well, every boutique manufacturer and bloody orange drops. They're just such silly caps. Look at the size of the stupid looking things. They rock around, they fracture their leads because they're so heavy. They get in the way, you've got to mount them over other components so they fit. The leads are thick and the spacing's ridiculous, so they bend them in like that, and it's just use some Weiman's champions. They're way better. But you know, they got the magic sauce. So now I've got to try and get this cap out, which is stuck between the two pots. Just worried about damaging a pad. Might be able to bend the leads up, but yeah, stop using orange drops, champions. Use some Panasonics, or if you're even smarter, you've already got the Weiman's in there. They're top quality caps. Only thing is, then you got to be cognizant of the you know, the spacing of the pins, because you can't mount them up in the air like a pleb, like everyone does with these things. All right. Maybe it wasn't an orange drop. It was this little silver mica piece of shit. So that's shown 270. That's not actually what's shown on the schematic. You may notice there it shows 330 picofarads, and I don't know if that's someone adding special sauce later or if it's a revision over the different issues over the years, or if it's an attempt to obfuscate the design. I think that if you would do that, you would do it by a factor larger than the difference in these two values, however. Alright champions, we've got the board back in there with the silly orange drops back in and everything's functioning as it was. I think I said the clean channel before. This is the drive channel, this is the clean channel. The clean channel is fine. So everything's hunky-dory now, except for a clickety-clack just by itself sitting here, because that was attributed to the input switching on the little Cliff input jack there. So old Cliffy boy's lost his tension, his spring, and his springen. So we'll put a new jack in there, that'll sort that out. And then the next issue, which is common on these, and I talked to the customer about this, these Weimer caps, suppression caps across the mains from active to neutral, and they love to go up in smoke. So the resin jacket on the outside eventually sort of degrades, the plastic degrades and it cracks, lets moisture in, and then it's like not a hard short, but it's between the two lines, so it burns up with a big smoke show. Dramatic billows of smoke come out of the amplifier, even though it continues to function because it's on the main side and it's not a hard short. Well, probably could be in some cases, but in most in my experience, the amp continues to function, but just pouring smoke out the back in a dramatic fashion. So I mentioned that to the customer that we might want to preemptively change that, and he said, you know what, my mate's got the same amplifier, and just a fortnight ago the same thing happened. It just started spewing smoke out. And he was very happy that I could preemptively tell him that I know what the fault is and that it's not the end of the world. His amp's not blown up. It's just one silly little cap in there. So we'll replace that with a Panasonic or something. You can leave it out. I believe it's in there for European emissions rules, like FCC style gear. But the thing is, you got to take the whole output board out to access it, because you can't get to the leads down the bottom there. They're on the other side of the board, so we've got to remove the board, but that means removing all the output valves, undoing the sockets, taking out the speaker jacks, taking out the impedance switch there, so unwiring all of that and this stuff over here before we can flip it over just to change that one cap. So we'll do that, but I've allowed him about an hour extra to do that, so better crack on with it then, eh? Alright, so for anyone doing this, you don't remove these screws here. And we want to remove the screws from the other side. So they go to a standoff that butts into the chassis and the output sockets. So if we undo just this one, the output sockets are held captive. You'd have to desolder all of them, but that's not the way to do it. We want to flip the chassis over and remove the screws through the chassis and take the standoffs and the socket with the PCB. However, we do have to remove the screw that's between the two fuse holders there, because that's an actual riveted standoff that's hard fixed to the chassis, and even if it were a screw, that's directly under the choke, so you wouldn't be able to access the screw anyway. So here's the screws we're talking about: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should be enough clearance for these bias test points to remain on the board without unbolting. Man, we really need to clean this chassis, don't we? You know what, looking at it now, we probably didn't need to undo that impedance selector, because I think there's enough slack. I swear I remember on another one, could have been another revision, that I had to remove it for access. Maybe I'm just dreaming, I don't know, but we should be able to get the soldering iron under there and access those solder connections on the cap that we're removing and get the new one installed without having to completely desolder everything, which is great. Alright champions, I was just about to put this impedance selector switch in and I noticed this little piece of plastic was about to fall out. Yep, it's loose. So that switch cannot be trusted anymore, and considering it's the impedance selector, it is kind of critical that we have a reliable switch there. These switches kind of suck at the best of times. They feel crunchy to use. Quite often you get loss of continuity between the contacts, and they've got a larger hole cutout than the average impedance selector switches, so you're kind of locked into using these if that's the type that the amplifier has. And I think the manufacturer knows that, so they charge like 80 bucks Australian or something ridiculous for them, like 60 to 80 bucks, something. I remember thinking, what the hell, when I looked at the price. So you've kind of got no choice but to use the same type again, regardless of them being kind of shitty. So that's what, unfortunately, we'll have to do in this case. So once the inner part of that switch starts breaking off, we really can't trust it anymore, and it is in a critical position. So here's the stock one on the left and the replacement on the right. That's one I had in stock. I always keep one of a lot of these things in stock at any given time, and then when I use it I just chuck one on the next order. So I've always got a live order happening with many of my suppliers, and just leave it open until there's a part that actually I require, rather than just putting in stock. But I try to, because I'm ordering stuff from the States quite often, I try to order as much as I can in one go. You can see there the brand's the same, but they've decided on a hex nut there at some point, which is good. Means we can actually get on it and put some decent torque into it. It looks like glass reinforced plastic. And you can see there the thread is coarser on the new one, so the old nut's not compatible with the new one. They've revised it at some point, which could be tricky if you've got limited clearance in that area. If you've got something right up against it, like the jack's jammed right up against that switch, you may not have clearance with that new nut, so be aware of that if you're getting a replacement. This industry, mate, it's full of pitfalls like this, little showstoppers and just constant challenges to your sanity. So watch out for them before they occur. Ooh, she's a close fit both to the jack and that lip on the chassis, but it just fits, so might buy a lottery ticket on the way home today. And you can see here the holes in the old one appear to be slightly larger than and round compared to the oval shaped holes in the replacement. But looking closely, I think what they've done is someone's jammed a reamer in there, because you can see the burrs, and it's almost like fractured the side of the hole on the old one just to get the wires through. So, you know, just a simple job like changing a little switch, and you've still got to think on your feet and be very observant and you know, swear at it quite a bit. The old wire's just not making it through, even after squeezing it with the needle nose pliers to try and simulate that oval shape. So I might have to just get my little scriber in there or something and just relieve those holes just a tiny bit, and that'll help us get it in there. Alright champions, while we've got it open, I thought I'd just show you this little curiosity. We've got an incandescent bulb inside this little parabolic reflector, and it shines into the end of all these little fibre optic pieces down here, which go to the front panel and form the illumination behind the control labels. Now they switch on and off with the other one according to which channel you're on. And this here looks like a collimating lens or something, but I think that's actually a UV filter to stop any potential UV from the incandescent bulb making its way into degrade the plastics down there over time. So I'm guessing that's what it is. I don't know. This is just complete guesswork here. And when we change to the other channel, the other bulb will light up and the other one turns off. You can see down there it indicates the control, so that's pretty handy. At a glance, you know on stage what channel you're on, and just come over and adjust stuff. You can see in a pitch black stage. Yeah, I just find that interesting because no one else is crazy enough to do it other than Bogner. Who would have thought of that? Makes you wonder if they saw it somewhere on a bit of industrial gear or something and they thought, oh, that's a good idea, but you never know. And you can see down here all those loose strands actually end up in like a braid, like a rectangular braid, and you've got the label stuck on that side and a reflective piece of tape at the back, and that's just held in place by a piece of aluminium angle down there. So yeah, completely bonkers design, but it works exactly as designed, and rather unique and kind of cool, to be honest. I doubt you'd be able to get those bulbs from anywhere but Bogner, however, considering the bulbs actually feels like epoxied into that plastic holder, so I don't think changing that would be very easy if practical at all. So I think you'd be changing at least this part here, if that's the part, or possibly the whole assembly. I'm not sure what they supplied as, if they even do. Now we do have another few silver micas throughout, however they're all branded CDM, which is a brand that you can kind of trust. The ones to avoid are the non-branded ones, or the ones just simply marked SM. So CDM, CDE are fine. There's probably other brands out there from history that are okay as well. But I tend to just use Vichy ceramides in these situations and avoid any possible failures. Silver micas can be a little bit delicate. Alright, champions, she's all done. Back together. Let's just fire it up and do a few chug riffs through it, and then I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining us yet again. Share this around, share my channel around if you can. I'd really appreciate it. I'd like to see 10,000 subs before the end of the year, if we can at all manage it, because I would like to have a 10,000 sub party while I'm on the end of the year holidays. So that'd be fun, wouldn't it? So yeah, share it around. Fucking like, subscribe. See you on the next one.